Greg and Tim clips.
So we're going to get into this segment that we kind of introduced at the beginning. And
Yeah.
this is from Pastor Zach Fontaine, who is one of the pastors at our church.
Yeah.
He had done...
This kind of just came to us.
He's done a
after this weekend.
series of messages recently. And the last one that was this past Sunday, he talked about a FOMO versus JOMO.
Yeah.
And FOMO was the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So in essence, saying yes to too many things and running yourself ragged and really not really doing any of them quite well, versus the JOMO, which is the joy of
not
missing
Josh
out.
Morrissey.
Joy of missing out.
Yeah.
And he said actually he is a FOMO in that
He's a
has
former
fear
FOMO.
of missing out, or he has been in the
A
past.
former FOMO.
And his wife has the joy of missing out. So
Yeah.
they are diametrically opposed.
Diametrically.
I've said
you're
that's
using
twice now. So.
That's two big words in one day.
It's the same word. Said twice.
So let's we'll check out a clip here and then we'll chat about it a little bit.
Roll it.
Roll it.
It is. It's a test every single time, but I've learned to come away from the FOMO side and enter into what she calls the JOMO side. You know what that means? You can probably put two and two together. The joy of missing out. Okay? It's the joy of missing out. Now, let me say something here, okay? We have this lifestyle where when you don't realize to understand what JOMO really can do for your life is when you can actually start to implement that pause that we talk about. We can actually start to implement proper priorities when you realize you actually have more joy when you miss out sometimes, okay? I'm not saying you miss out on everything, but prioritize what you think is the things you want in your life. And apart from that, just enjoy the ride of JOMO, where you say, sorry, I can't make that. And then you're sitting at home enjoying what you prioritized in your life because it's better, because you have peace.
So that's what the clip's all about there, Tim. So I think it leads me to a question and probably leads you to the same question.
Yeah. What's that question, Mr. Greg?
What are you? Are you a FOMO or are you a JOMO?
I'm definitely not a FOMO.
I disagree.
I do not have the fear of missing out. For this is my explanation to
Yeah.
you.
I think it actually is more deep
Yeah.
than just FOMO versus JOMO.
So asking yourself the question, how many times do you say no?
Yeah.
If it's I rarely say no, you're FOMO. And if it's you often say no, you are, and of course this is a balance, but if you often say no, and sometimes it's for the right reason, sometimes it's for the wrong reason, there's lots of reasons why we say no.
Yeah.
But assuming, your time is finite.
So that reminds me of the movie Yes Man.
Yeah.
Remember that movie with
Jim
Jim Carrey? And he's saying yes to everything.
Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah, Zoe Deschanel. And he's saying yes to everything, and he's like, he's the Red Bull scene where he's like super like whipped up on Red Bull. Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull.
I think I'd really
Anyway, that's saying yes to everything.
So,
he was on Red Bull. 'cause he
You
said
can
yes to
get
everything.
deeper into this question.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's many reasons people say no, and there's many reasons why they say yes. The term that you have to focus on is the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
I don't fear missing things out. I think I say no to. I feel bad sometimes that I'm saying no.
So-
to something. If you say, hey Tim, can you come out tonight?
So let me
can't.
change it up then.
Yeah.
Let me change.
That's the question.
No, well, it is the question, but I think that you do have FOMO,
Okay, explain.
but you have selective FOMO.
But that goes against.
No, because you went to the Grey Cup with me for a reason.
I wanted to go to the Grey Cup, and it was cheap.
You went to the Grey Cup with me for a reason, though, and the reason was more so because you didn't want to miss the Bombers winning the Grey Cup.
In 29 years, yeah.
Yeah,
How many times have
So-
I said no to going to the Grey Cup since then? Twice. Why?
once.
I think we had talked about it for.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that.
And you went last year, and
I went last year, yeah.
I didn't even blink twice about not going. I didn't want to go,
Yeah.
and I didn't go.
You didn't have the fear of missing out on that, but I think there's certain things that you have a selective fear of missing out on. So it's not that you're like, you have FOMO all the time, but I do think that if there's something going on, that you sometimes have that fear.
I think you've described 99.9%
Well, that's
of
what
the
I mean.
population by
Yeah.
that. So
I personally don't think I have FOMO.
I think we all make decisions based on those kinds of things that if we really want to do them, we'll do them. The issue is what percentage of those. If you're, are you always saying yes because just for the sake of saying yes?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to let somebody down. You don't want to miss something. I mean, that's why little kids, they want to stay up late even though they're exhausted because they might miss something.
Yeah.
Right? Even
That's
though
a different kind of, yeah.
Even though those things are irrelevant and oftentimes boring.
I think what happens is you kind of grow out of FOMO.
Right.
Like you do things to the point where you're like, now like I'm okay with missing things.
Yeah.
You know, when you're younger, you can ask like, you could probably ask my son Brandon, you know, do you I've got tickets to the hockey game. Do you want to go? He'd be like, yes. You know, I got tickets to the football game. Yes. I got tickets to Shania Twain. Yes. Like I could say I have tickets to this band that really stinks and he'll say yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's because he's at an age right now that he hasn't experienced everything and he wants to experience things. So I think that's where the FOMO comes in. But people that have true JOMO are people that are like more introverts to the point where they don't need to do anything.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Now you're going to the motivation of why people say no, and that's a deeper question.
Yeah.
Right. Some people will say, I just can't do everything, so I'm going to prioritize, like was said in the clip, because this is more important. I'm going to do this and not this because they recognize they can't. Then you're talking about someone who's very introverted that will say no because they don't want to feel embarrassed. They think the situation is going to be something they wouldn't be comfortable with.
Yeah.
They might not want to be hurt in a relationship, things like that. So you're talking about a deeper question.
So do you think that I have FOMO?
100%. I joke about this all the time. I say Greg can't say no to anything except when I'm asking him for things.
But
he can say no to me.
It's actually kind of funny. So it's one of the reasons why, like when I heard this message on Sunday, I was like, I want to have this conversation with Tim because I know that Tim used to ask me to do things just to make me say yes.
Yeah.
And I'm a really bad no person.
Yeah, you're a terrible no person.
I say yes to almost everything, and you pointed that out to me, and that's when I stopped saying yes to you.
Right, just selective. Again, selective here. he'll help move a dead body for someone else, but for me, he's not going to Sosmos.
I'll paint houses for Matthew, but for Tim, I will let him do his own painting.
Right. Are we talking about real painting or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I thought that's the other thing. So we explained what we thought we were, FOMO
or JOMO, yeah.
So the question then is to the people that watch the podcast: would you consider yourself FOMO? Would you consider yourself JOMO, and why?
Like, or a hybrid maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you're selective, like Tim.
So we would like to get people's honest response about what they think, and also if they agree with our interpretations. Anything that you want, but say which would you consider yourself to be?
Comment below on what you think, and let us know, and we'll put it up on the Instagram stories. You can also let us know on there, and below we'll also leave the full clip from the entire message that we had on Sunday,
Absolutely.
so people can watch that.
This fantastic message.
Yeah, awesome.